Hello everyone. Today's topic of discussion is digestion. What is digestion? Digestion involves mechanical, enzymatic and microbial process in GIT. GIT means gastrointestinal tract, which convert large food particle to a size which can be absorbed, transported and used by the animal for their body function. Farm animals divided into two groups. Number one is ruminants are polygastric animal. Ruminants are polygastric animals means they have different compartments in their stomach. Examples are cattle, buffalo, sheep and goat. And number second is non-ruminants. Non-ruminants involve monogastric animal. They have only one stomach. They don't have any compartments. Examples of these animals are horses, donkeys, dog, and number next is digestion include prehension, ingestion, grinding, or mastication. Ingestion mean intake of feed, grinding or mastication mean crushing of the feed, digestion of the feed and absorption of the nutrients and extraction of the waste product. All these functions performed during the digestion process. Now we are going to discuss about the parts of the GIT. It's also known as alimentary canal. It is a tube-like structure which starts from mouth and then esophagus, stomach, and then the next one is the stomach. In case of ruminants, it includes reticulum, omasum, abomasum, small intestine, duodenum, jejunum, and ileum. Next part of the GIT is large intestine, which has been divided into cecum, colon, rectum, and anus. Next one is the gland which involve in digestion. Number one is salivary gland, which is present inside the mouth, and number second is liver, which is present inside the belly, and number next is gallbladder and pancreas. Mouth is the first part of the GIT. It performs the function of prehension, gasping, mastication or chewing for feed mixing with saliva. Function of the teeth is the grinding of the food, and function of the teeth is the grinding of the food, and the tongue function is the mix of the food with saliva. Lips of the sheep and goat, horses are flexible, while in case of cattle, buffalo are stiff and immobile. Horse has upper and lower incisor, while it is absent in cattle, buffalo, sheep and goat. They have very hard dental pad. Saliva, it is a solution which is produced inside the mouth, contain mucin and inorganic salts and enzyme that is been secreted by salivary gland into the mouth. In case of cattle and buffalo, 120 liter to 130 liter produce saliva in a mouth in a day, while in case of sheep and goat, 10 to 12 liter saliva produced in a day, while in case of horses, it produces 10 to 12 liter saliva inside the mouth of the horses. In case of cattle and buffalo, 2 to 3 liter of the saliva produced in a day in the mouth of the sheep and goat. Saliva function, it perform the lubrication of the feed during the swallowing. Next part of the GIT is esophagus. It's a muscular tube-like structure extended from the back of the mouth to the stomach. It helps to move the food through wave-like construction. Next part is stomach. Stomach act as feed reservoir and the digestion of the animal started from here. Function of the stomach is different in ruminants and non-ruminants. In case of ruminants, we already discussed it has different parts. It includes rumen, reticulum, omasum and abomasum. Rumen and reticulum are very much closely related to each other, which is collectively called reticulorumen. Rumen serve as a big fermentation place. It occupies 50% of the GIT and 75% of abdominal cavity. It is non-glandular, twisted in folds which is called as papilla, which increase the surface area to increase the surface area for the absorption and fermentation process. Rumen contents. Next one is we are going to discuss about the rumen contents. Rumen has a very high amount of water. Rumen never be empty during the day. When the animal is in fasting condition, the watery contents increase inside the rumen. Now, what is rumination? Rumination is the process of mixing, grinding by strong ruminal movement. Regurgitation. Next one is what is regurgitation, जिसको लोकल ज़ुबान में जुगाली भी कहते हैं ना. Regurgitation, rumen contents through the esophagus into the mouth for chewing purpose. It is called as regurgitation. Regurgitated matter in the form of bolus swallowed again inside the stomach. During the rumination process, to complete this cycle, it takes 1 minute, of which 4 seconds used for regurgitation and reswallowing. Next one is rumen microorganism. Rumen microorganism, a continuous fermentation and aerobic condition. No enzyme required for this process. Fermentation performed by combined action of bacteria, protozoa and fungi. In case of bacteria which is present in the rumen, it is almost about 10 raised power 9 per ml of rumen contents. More than 60 species of bacteria is present inside the rumen. These species is classified as cellulitic, which help in cellulose digestion, analytic, starch, which help in starch digestion. And next one is proteolytic species, which help in the digestion of protein. Rumen bacteria are very much sensitive to the dietary change, so frequent and sudden change in the diet may disturb the function of the rumen. Rumen bacteria divides very rapidly. There are two types of bacteria. Number one is floating bacteria and number second is adherent bacteria. Floating bacteria are those bacteria in the rumen contents which wash out along with the fecal material. While in case of adherent bacteria, they stick and stay a longer time inside the rumen. Function of the rumen bacteria, number one is it helps in the digestion of the feed. And number second is it's a very good source of high quality proteins. It produces volatile fatty acid. It also produces acetic acid, propionic acid and butyric acid. Rumen, it also in case of rumen, these bacteria also produce carbon dioxide, methane, hydrogen, and along with this volatile fatty acid and part of gases absorbed inside the rumen wall. Large part of the gases is lost through eructation. Ammonia. In rumen, ammonia produced through protein fermentation. The concentration of ammonia depends on quality and quantity of protein. Ammonia is very much important for the growth of the bacteria. Lower level of ammonia decrease the bacterial growth, while high amount of ammonia may cause the urea toxicity. Next part of the GIT in case of ruminants, third compartment, which contain a longitudinal fold which is called as pillar, which increase the surface area, which is called as omasum. Its small size and not contain the rumen contents for longer time and pass to the abomasum. Next one is the fourth part of the GIT is abomasum, which is the last part of the ruminants GIT tract, and it is resemble with simple stomach. It is glandular part of the rumen. It secretes HCl and pepsin. The digesta living in ruminants and non-ruminants called as chyme. Next part of the GIT is small intestine. It is long, coiled, having three parts. Duodenum is the upper part which starts from the stomach, bile duct open in it. Jejunum is a coiled tube along with the ileum, which is straighter one, open in the cecum. Small intestine contain a finger-like structure which is called as villi, which is rich with blood supply for absorption of digested nutrients. Small intestine contain muscular layer which cause the contraction and expansion movement, which is called as peristalsis movement, and which helps in the mixes and the movement of the digesta towards the large intestine. Next one is the pancreas. Is the lobulated organ produce pancreatic juice which contain lipase, trypsin, sodium bicarbonate, potassium, chloride, calcium and magnesium. It also produces the insulin which pour into the duodenum. The function of the insulin is to neutralize the sugar contents in the blood. There are different types of the enzyme which is present in the pancreatic juice. Number one is proteases, which helps in protein digestion, and number second is lipase, which hydrolyze the fat into carboxylic acid and glycerol, and next one is the amylase enzyme which helps in the digestion of starch into dextrin and maltose. Next one is liver and gallbladder. Bile continuously secreted by liver in all animals. Horses have no gallbladder. Bile pour into the duodenum. In farm animals, pancreatic juice and bile pour into the duodenum by common duct, but in case of cattle and buffalo, it discharged by two separate ducts. Fat in small intestine, which is present in large globule, which cannot be hydrolyzed by the pancreatic lipase until it is emulsified by the bile salt, which is produced by the liver. Bile contain a pigment which is called as bilirubin, and it also contain cholesterol and mucin. Next part of GIT is large intestine. It is terminal part of alimentary canal. It consists of blind sac which is called as cecum, colon, rectum. In horses, it constitutes about 46% of GIT. In ruminants, it constitutes 10% of GIT. It is major site for absorption of water, sodium, chloride, potassium, phosphorus, magnesium. In large intestine, mucus secretion taken place, but no enzymic activity found. In monogastric animals like horses, rabbit, cecum serve as a major site of digestion of fiber material. This is done by variety of microflora. No microbial digestion in ruminants in large intestine found. Microbial protein synthesis is excreted in the feces. Colon is extended from cecum to rectum. Rectum is a storage place of feces until it is secreted. The next part of the GIT is anus. It is an opening at the posterior end of the alimentary canal under the root of the tail. The anal canal or lumen is closed by contraction of sphincter muscle. During defecation, the anal canal and undigested material excreta is passed through the anus.